I get that, and we'll come back to that game in a minute, just because I know that CB's got a shoot in a minute. So I wanted to just mention Chelsea. So you're chasing Liverpool down. You're a couple of points behind them, CB. You go away to Everton, who today have just found out they're getting new ownership, which you would expect.
Really?
Yeah, they're getting new owners come in. So you would expect that to be a really big boost to their crowd. With everything else, you got new stadium coming, new owners coming in now. Tough place for Chelsea to go. Are you confident about Goodison Park on Sunday?
I think with our run of the next 10 games that we have, I think this is the most difficult game. When I think about December period anyway, before we face Villa and Spurs, I was more worried about this game. However, I do think we win them. I do think we win the game. Obviously, Cucurella being suspended isn't great, but just now Maresca, he knows how to adapt. I reckon he probably puts Gusto left back and then Caicedo inverted right back. And just seeing how they played against Arsenal, where they didn't really attack. It was a low block and they just dealt with it. But we've seen against the Brentford game how we dealt with that low block. It's nothing that we really struggle with. So I see us winning the game, if I'm being honest. And I feel like that's just going to propel our run of games where the next 10 after this Everton game is going to be disgusting. I think by the time we face City in the end of January 20th, we'll be top of the table.
There are a lot of games that I'm worried about. So Everton's
what games? You've got Fulham and Boxing Day at home.
Okay, so Everton I'm worried about because I think Everton away is
it's not a bogey team, innit? So
historically, that's been a tough game for us. Yeah. Fulham, I think, are actually just a good team, and then Bournemouth, because Bournemouth are really good.
Bournemouth at home though, it's not away.
But I think Bournemouth are going to shock a lot of people, and they have so far. I've said ever since Iraola came in, I thought they were going to be really good. So they're not Jimmy games. They're not Ipswich. They're not. Who else we got? They're not Palace in this run where I go like
we got Palace, Wolves, Ipswich.
Palace Wolves
easy games, but we'll win those games.
I'd put us as favourites, but they're not gimmies. They're not. I'm expecting. It's not like 100%. We're going to get 3 points. Everton for me is like we'll be favourites, but it's not going to be an easy game. Do you know what I mean?
CB, where are Liverpool going to drop points? Because you said you're going to be top of the table. I want to know, where are Liverpool going to drop points?
If you just look at Liverpool's run, like the last 3 league games, for example, since Konate has been injured, they've conceded 2 goals away from home to Southampton. They conceded 3 to Newcastle. If the referee not blown the whistle, it could have been 4-3, but that's semantics. And they've conceded 2 at home to Fulham. Now, I'm just looking at this. I've seen the whole narrative around Chelsea is you guys' defense is shaky. You won't win the league with that defense. But the drop-off in the past month since the international break shows me that Liverpool's defense is just as shaky. Now, we know how the Premier League goes.
Very quickly, before you do continue, Liverpool are playing United, I think the first 5 days after the New Year, right? Now, it's against United at home, and anything can happen. I'm not saying they will lose, but they could drop points in that game.
No, 100%.
With a draw.
Liverpool, I see Liverpool dropping points. Like, I'm not gonna just circle down their games. Like you know how it goes. We're gonna hate watch regardless, and we just hope. But I'm not. I don't think the way everyone was talking about Liverpool at the start of the season. I know they went a long run without conceding goals. They weren't losing. They weren't dropping points. It's understandable. The hype was there. But the version of Liverpool we've seen since the international break are human. They're doable. And I think we can get them done, especially with Konate out. I know he's apparently not back till early January, and why not? I'm not one of the Chelsea fans. I don't know what David or you, my bro, what you guys are thinking in terms of us in the title race. But I'm not one of the Chelsea fans that's shying away from being in the title race. Where we came from in the last 2 years, who was 12th. Last year, you guys saw me screaming at my screen with strangers I'd never meet about Chelsea. That just tells me, I wasn't happy with our situation. You see me now, I'm relaxed, but this is where we belong. And as
so you believe that you guys are in a title race?
I think we have enough to. Obviously, we need to improve in January, but I think we can win the league. Yes, why not? The league
what positions do you think that you wanna very quickly
address? The centre back position, I think, is our priority. I want a centre back that could also fill in as a right back. With we just can't trust Reece James, and if Gusto was to go down, our season could go left. So a centre back hybrid, one of them ones, and. Yeah, maybe an attacker too.
What about a keeper? Because I know
no top goalkeeper is joining in January 1, and I'm not really Sanchez's biggest fan, but I've seen a lot from him this season that I'm actually proud of. The last 3 league games, He's come up big for us. Brentford, he made some big saves for us. Aston Villa 1-on-1 against Ollie Watkins, big save. 1-on-1 against Son against Spurs, big save. You know, I look at the Forest game, he came up big for us. You know, he's had loads of moments. Bournemouth, he won a penalty. He doesn't get a lot of credit for the good he does because there's a whole, you know, everyone's worried about his distribution. But his distribution, not 100% is bad. I'm not, like I said, I would want a goalkeeper next season. We're not getting one in January. This is what we've got.
Yeah, of course.
But everyone is saying we can't win the league because of Sanchez. Sanchez, they say his distribution. I saw Sanchez.
You got Mendy in January, didn't you?
No, but Mendy's not like Mendy had a purple patch. And he came in the summer. He came in the summer.
Did you get him in the summer, or did you get him in the January?
No, it was summer. But as I'm saying,
what goalkeeper would you want?
I'm not a wise scout merchant, innit? I trust my board in terms of scouting players. Do what you got to do. I'm not
Mayan at AC Milan.
I'm not a tactical, innit? I'm not gonna start.
I get that. Dan, how are you viewing the weekend's game? As a lot of people saying it's a big test. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, massively. If you look at our record going up to Goodison Park, I don't know how many wins it is that we've had, but I can only remember one off the top of my head in like the last 5-6 fixtures up there. Like, it's been difficult for Chelsea, and it is a bogey fixture for us. There's no doubt about it. I think this Chelsea team, though, when we're talking about title races and where we could end up, what we're doing so well at the moment is just being very short-sighted in training, and the way everyone's speaking is it's one game at a time. That's leading to consistency. And with consistency, I think that's what wins you the Premier League this year, because I think all the other teams around are really struggling to be consistent.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm one of the Chelsea fans that doesn't believe we're in the title race currently.
Nah, we're in one. We're in one.
No. Let me explain. My belief is title races don't start game week 1. That's my only thing.
But if you only lose one game a season, or like 3 games, if you lose more than 3, chances are you don't win the Prem at this current moment in time. It has to start game week 1.
What week does it start then? For
me, I'd say between 20 and 25, somewhere in that region. It depends what's going on in that season. But I believe you have to qualify to be in a
David,
title.
like, it's not a sprint, right? And what you're saying is that's like when the bell goes on the last lap of like a 4-lap race in athletics. That's what you're saying. That's when it gets exciting.
But exactly, that's my point.
But listen, if you trip over on lap 1 and you fall and you can't recover the gap that goes away from you, you're out the race. Like, you're finishing up. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
you can definitely lose it. I agree
you
with
don't
that.
qualify for a title race, though. It starts as soon as... No, you don't. As soon as the
You
start
don't.
expires,
No, you don't. Title race starts from the first game.
It starts the first day. If you lose your first game, of the season, you are already behind. Normally, in the last 3 or 4 seasons, you're already behind the team that's probably going to win it, because they'll get to the end of the season and they've lost maximum 3 games. You can only lose another 2 if you lose first game.
But David,
if you say that Chelsea are in the title race game week 1, by that same logic, Leicester, Southampton, Ipswich are also in a title race.
They're in the race, though, aren't they? They are in the race.
But David, this is what I'm saying, yeah.
It is. They just fall away from the leaders.
David, what you think, yeah, is not like foreign. A lot of Chelsea fans I've been speaking to lately are on the same boat as you. But I think this mentality is due to PTSD of the last 2 years. Is obviously you don't want to get your hopes up. You don't want to do this. You in general, all of our expectations, we didn't see ourselves winning the league. If you spoke to Leicester City fans in 15-16 season in December, and everyone was saying, obviously they were probably bringing it up, but majority of the fans are probably going to say, I don't know about it. It's natural skepticism. But I want to remind you what badge you see in front of you right now. We're Chelsea. Naturally, we're underdogs. When we have our greatest wins, it's us being underdogs. That's just how it is. That's the nature of us as a club. But you're scared away from the fact of being let down of what you've seen the last 2 years.
I'm not scared.
But on top of that is the rivals. Because now, obviously, the rivals, like Igal, me and Igal argued on Never Foul 3 weeks ago because he was telling me we're not in the title race. Now he's nodding his head saying we are. So obviously the rivals are going to say what they're going to do to try and, if we don't win the league, they can laugh at us. I'd rather get laughed at for not winning the league than get laughed at for being in Conference League or finishing 12th.
We all know how this works. CV, we all know how this works. At the end of the day, a lot of these fans, they just want to bait you into just saying, oh yeah, win a title race. And then if you guys don't win, it's like, what, didn't you say that you win a title race and stuff like that? At the end of the day, statistically, you guys are in a title race. You understand what I'm saying, right? It's like the table doesn't lie. the table doesn't lie at all. You guys are in a title race, right? So
that's only if you believe title races start game week 1.
But see, this is the thing.
Because again, Omar,